Welcome to EDSE 512 at the University of Northern Colorado. My name is Anna Vick and I'll be your instructor in this course. I look forward to working with all of you. I'm creating this video as a bit of a guide or a beginner's guide to the course. We'll talk about Canvas, the course schedule, our discussions and assignments, and the purposes of our class and our time together this semester. So welcome and let the journey begin. You'll see that our course is broken into units. This course schedule document will be the most valuable and helpful one for you. You can find it in our course shell. If you click here on syllabus on the left, you'll see the course schedule listed here as a document that you can open. There's also a welcome letter, a little bit about me, and the syllabus for our class with information on required texts and the objectives, connections to the program content. However, I would argue that the course schedule is the most practical document that you will be utilizing the most frequently throughout our time together. So for each unit, the dates will be listed as due dates, not start dates. So watch closely for that. You'll see that we go through Unit 12, and that's where the course will end. And the units are either 1 week long or 2 weeks long. Okay, so just watch those due dates closely. You'll see that the initial discussion responses are due by Monday, 11:59 p.m., and all of that is Mountain Standard Time. And then our unit will come to a close on Wednesday at the end of the evening, 11:59 p.m. Mountain Standard, opening again with the next unit on Thursday morning. And that'll be the case for both 1 week and 2 week units. They'll end on that Wednesday, open then on that Thursday. So our reading will be listed in this column. Our topics are listed here. And then the really most important part of the document for you other than the due dates will be the responsibilities. So obviously anything you see listed as activities will be reading, videos you might be checking out. These video lectures that I will upload should be helpful to you. So include that in your activities, please, and take the time to watch them. I'll be providing great detail on many of our assignments. And so that's a great place to start if you do have questions as we proceed. And then you'll notice that we do have many discussions as we get started, but there will not be a discussion for every single unit. So just take note, some units you'll be focusing more on assignment completion. For instance, you'll see discussion 1, 2, 3, 4, but then in unit 5, we have a case study assignment, and there is not a discussion listed there. Scrolling down, you'll see Unit 6 is a 2 week unit. You'll just want to watch the dates closely for that, but it's simply 2 weeks instead of 1. So it gives you extended time for more significant or time-consuming assignments. One of the most important comments I will make in this course is that it's quite valuable to plan ahead. You should have access to the entire course in your Canvas shell right now. All the modules should be open for you, so you can review assignment descriptions and plan out your semester. If you notice that there is a unit in our class where the workload is lighter, that's a great time for you to seize that opportunity and read ahead, look ahead, view ahead. You don't have to, that's not required, but I do encourage it just to make sure that you don't get hit with any surprises as you go, and that we can troubleshoot and address questions along the way with plenty of time for you to make any adjustments that you may need. The purpose of this course, there are many, but the way that I would best describe it is the main idea of our class is learning to write a really strong IEP document. And this is something that I am most passionate about, so I'm really thrilled that we'll all be working on it together. You'll have the opportunity not only to write many different sections of an IEP document for a case study student that you'll select, but you'll also have the opportunity to critique IEP documents that are provided to you, mock case study documents, again. And those documents are going to be quite subpar in some areas. That's a little spoiler hint for you. So you'll then be providing information about what should have been done and why. And your course readings and the procedural manual and all the documents provided to you in our course shell will help you to do this. So when you go to modules here on the left in Canvas, You'll see start here. Obviously, you want to start here. This is important information regarding APA. We are using 7th edition, and it's very important that you cite your sources at all times to avoid any concerns about plagiarism or formatting problems. So do read through start here. If you need more APA support, you can scroll all the way down and you'll see APA resources. There are also some writing resources in general that are included for you. Website field trips here on the bottom. There is a link with some information there. And then policies. We need to make sure that you're clear with the academic honesty policy as well as with the incomplete policy. My hope is that that won't come up for us, but life does happen. So if you feel like you might need to look into that process, please let me know. Nevertheless, we will begin with Unit 1. Here you can see our focus will be assessment and legal and ethical issues. This is a pretty brief unit because we are just getting started. So for each unit that you'll open, you'll see a graphic organizer, goals for the unit, reading, activities, and here, the graded assignment. That's our Unit 1 discussion board. So that's the main focus. We do have an optional getting to know you. There are PowerPoints for you to review here, handouts included. And that will give you some information on assessment as we get started. You'll then see this content in Canvas focused on ethical, legal, and professional issues, and ultimately here on the purpose of assessment as well. So when we talk about assessment in special education, we really are looking to gather baseline data and information, a comprehensive, multidisciplinary, team-based evaluation for a student to identify all of that student's strengths and areas of challenge or difficulty in the educational setting. So we really need to identify impact here. You're going to want to screen for really all relevant areas, especially if this is an initial evaluation or if the student has been away for a period of time or you're receiving something that's incomplete from sending school, etc. So you'll want to look at all areas. We're thinking about speech language, thinking about social, emotional, and behavioral wellness. We're thinking about, obviously, the academic evaluation. That's essential. And perhaps occupational therapy. There are a myriad of categories that we could use for evaluation. And we will be going into those throughout the course. So more to come there. But please know that assessment is not only for the initial, but also formal assessment in the re-evaluation in special education every 3 years or more often as necessary. And then we also may use these for if we're looking at a change of placement. We can do smaller assessment processes for progress monitoring and continue to refer to our assessments as we're determining eligibility for special education services. So you'll see down below assessment and test what the difference is, and we've got a video. The assessment is going to be much more comprehensive, and we are collecting data. The test would be what's utilized to conduct the assessment. Also, please check out this video regarding the legal aspects of assessment. There's an optional quiz for you here, the assessment laws activity, but that is not required for a grade. However, I would encourage you to take a look at it. So remember, we do have to provide the least restrictive environment for any student with an IEP, and we have to provide consistent and comprehensive, robust access to free, appropriate public education, or FAPE as we may call it. And ultimately, we have to keep in mind the value of rigor as well. So there's a lot of legal information we need to consider when developing an IEP, as well as when we are conducting assessments. This is also a very important category or section here in Canvas regarding diverse backgrounds for students and the impact on the assessment. So an example of this that I've experienced is I was working at a time in early childhood special education where I had many students who were coming from a really low socioeconomic status situation, several students who might have been experiencing homelessness. There was a great deal going on for them, and it was a transient population for the most part. And one of the assessments I was using had a lot of questions about the ocean and the beach. And the students with whom I was working had not taken any vacations of that nature and had not taken any trips for the most part to any type of aquarium or even a zoo to put a real life connection, as we're looking at any of those topics, talking about dolphins or sea urchins or jellyfish. And so to them, it wasn't meaningful, and they scored very poorly because it wasn't appropriate for their experiences and for what they had been working through in their homes and with their families. So that was something that stood out to me. I think that the creator of the assessment might have made the assumption that any child would come in with a working knowledge of the beach and the ocean, and perhaps might have even been to the beach on vacation not too long ago. And that was not the case. So the students struggled with those questions. This is a video, or actually there's several as I scroll down here. English language learners here at the top, and then going through talking about the issue of over-identification, where students who are learning English as a second or language after second might be over-identified for special education services when really that is not an appropriate identification. Take the time to watch those videos as well, just to increase that awareness. And this is a beautiful flow chart and visual. I encourage you to reference it as we go throughout our course. We will see it again. So obviously this is just the IEP process. We need to gather data. We need to look at the present levels for the student, develop those measurable and appropriate attainable goals, and then do some really solid fidelity of implementation with the intervention and working through that progress monitoring, step 5. And then ultimately, we're also implementing those accommodations and the specially designed instruction and taking a look at the assessment participation. So for instance, would a student receive assistive technology on an assessment, perhaps extended time, many different options for those accommodations. Step 7, or even looking at alternate standards. So we'll get there too. This is our Unit 1 discussion board. And so there are 2 little bullet points here, pretty straightforward. You will need to cite resources for the discussions in APA format. That's 7th edition. And you can cite course resources provided to you here in Canvas, or something else that is relevant, reliable, that would support your statements. So you will want to address not only your introduction, but also any concerns that you might have with teacher-made classroom assessments. So you want to think about those that teachers pulling up on a word processing program and writing and selecting math problems and creating these for probes for progress monitoring. What could go wrong there? And then how can those concerns be addressed or reduced or even eliminated? So how can we ensure appropriate assessment and rigorous assessment and teacher-made assessments that are going to be ethical in nature, or should we avoid them altogether? So that is the main idea for Unit 1 as you participate in that discussion board. Please be sure to cite your sources and have at least 2 responses to others. And that is where we're getting started in our course. So welcome, welcome. Please reach out via email with any questions. I'm here to help. Look forward to getting to know all of you.